when you went from that life to this life, what happened in there that you knew you were one with Christ?
I started really hearing from him and knowing without a doubt that it was him. Um,
Okay.
before, when I first started hearing from him and he was telling me to leave my ex, I was in denial. I was trying to make it seem like it wasn't him saying that, like it was the devil. That's literally what I was doing. Like that can't be God telling me to leave my ex after
Oh,
everything.
interesting.
Like we had spent X amount of years apart just to get back together for you to tell me to leave him again. Like ain't no way.
So
That's
initially you didn't even think it was God speaking to you.
deep down I knew, but I was in denial and I didn't want it to be him. So I'm like, it gotta be the devil. Ain't no
Oh.
way. Ain't no like. There's no way. There's no way. I came all the way back to him after not like we could have just continued to not talk. You know what I mean? We were already
Yeah.
not talking for 3 years. We could have just continued not to talk. So for us to get back together and you to tell me it's not going to work again, there's no
Hmm.
way.
Yeah.
No way. And then when I realized and submitted to that, him telling me what to do and to leave, that's when things started changing. I genuinely started hearing things. I started writing things in my notebook, like things that he was telling me, and it was undeniable,
Yeah.
undeniable things that literally he would tell me something, I would just bawl out crying because I'm like, wow, like it just opened my eyes to something I had no idea about,
Hmm.
you know. So
And then at that point, you're not in denial any
oh
longer.
no, no, I was not in denial at all
It's pretty
after.
clear then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very clear.
And I wonder how many people that happens to and they don't recognize it and maybe just kind of ignore it, or maybe they're in denial as well.
I still do it.
Do you?
I'm walking, but I still have my moments where I'm like, eh, is that you? Like, what is that? Is that you? Is that me? Is that the devil? Like, I don't know who's in my ear right now.
Yeah.
And he'll do something to confirm that it was him. Like he'll have maybe a person say something that they don't really know what they're saying, but it confirmed what he was trying to tell me, trying to get me to see. Or a song will come on and be like, okay, yeah, I got it. That was you. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I'll have a dream. You know, like he'll confirm it because I'm a little more hard headed than I care to
I
admit.
remember
Sometimes
you said
I
that
am.
before.
Yes,
It
I'm
took
a
you a
little
couple
hard
times.
headed, right?
Yeah.
So he'll make it known. Like if I'm like not sure and not purposely not listening, just genuinely not sure, he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna show you in a different way so you can know it's me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to learn how to know his voice consistently, not just sometimes, all the time. Whether it's a loud voice, whether it's a little whisper, I want to know without a doubt, like, okay, that's what he told me to do,
And
without being poked every time.
right. And so you don't even question it anymore. You automatically know
No.
to follow his word.
See, it depends on what it is.
Okay.
It depends on what it is. Sometimes I know without a shadow of a doubt that's what it is. That's what he wants me to do. That's what he wants me to say. And sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure, depending on how it sounds to me.
Oh, I see.
And not thinking that he can see a lot more than I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking with my little small brain compared to his, like, I don't know. That I'm not really sure how that sounds. You know what I mean? He'll
Mm-hmm.
do something to make me be like, okay, yeah, that was him. And then I have to move because once I know, it's like I can't unknow now. So now I definitely have to move because he
Yeah.
made it clear that that was him. So now I have to move in the direction he wanted me to.
So do you think that God speaks through or to everyone and they just, for whatever reason, don't hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
And even the people who may not hear him now anymore, it's because he tried so much and they keep giving him the fu. So it's like, okay, he says he'll turn you over to a reprobate mind. Like he's not gonna keep reaching out to you if you're gonna, not even just ignoring him or not hearing him, but if you're just gonna keep like spitting in his face, for lack of better words, then
Yeah.
he's just gonna be like, all right, fine, have at it, do what you're gonna do, have
So
fun.
what would you say to someone to help them understand what what they're hearing is from God?
For me, and this is what I told my sister too, because she kind of asked me a similar question, is it was something that I couldn't shake. Like when God was telling me to leave my ex, no matter what I did, no matter what other thoughts I tried to put into my head, I couldn't get rid of that thought. Scrolling on Instagram, I would see things confirming that, it's coincidence. Not really, it's coincidence. You know what I mean?
So it's not just the voice. There's signs everywhere.
There's signs.
Yeah.
There's definitely signs, and I'll ignore them, duck them, weave them, whatever. Just not listening in complete denial. So if it's something for me, if it's something that I can't shake, can't get off my head, it keeps coming back to me over and over and over again, then especially if it goes against something you want. You know what I mean? So it's not like, okay, I want that soda, and you keep saying, oh yeah, I get that soda, get that soda. That's what you want. So it's probably, you can't really say that's definitely God. If it's like you want that soda, but it's like, go get some water, and which one's God? Probably the one that's telling you to go get some water because you genuinely really want that soda, but you keep hearing, get that water.
Yeah.
Get the water. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it's something you can't shake, you keep hearing over and over and over again, no matter what. You see different signs about it. You hear different things about it. It's probably God trying to get your attention. You keep falling on your face. No matter how many different routes you think you're taking, you keep falling on your face, end up in the same, merry-go-round. It's probably God trying to get your attention.
And I remember you saying before that just because a person asks for something or prays for something doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be granted, because it may not be what that person needs in their life.
Right.
Whether at all or at that point.
Right.
I thought that was really interesting when you said that before, because I think a lot of people do pray for many different things, and when they don't see their prayers answered, whether at all or immediately, they automatically, and I've heard this from a lot of people, they'll kind of turn their back on God because, oh well, I prayed for this and it didn't happen, so then they lose that faith. But you had said, which I thought was interesting, that it may not be what God wants in that person's life. Just because you want it doesn't mean it's what's good for you.
Right.
And I thought that was really important. And maybe, maybe other people need to hear that, for the people who are struggling in their faith, because I think, maybe they give up too easily.
Oh yeah, 100%. I saw something on Instagram. It said, God answers prayers in seasons, not seconds. And that was really deep to me. I'm like, like people just want, oh, I need a brand new car. And if they don't have a car within that next 10 minutes, oh, God doesn't exist. He doesn't hear my prayers. Screw it. I'm not praying ever again. Like, hey, like, what do you think? He's a genie? Like, you know what I mean? What is going on in here? Like, no, the seasons. Are you ready for that car? Because you can have that car, but if you're not ready, you're going to drive that car into the dirt. Now you're praying for a new one. It's like, no, why don't you wait until you're ready for that car? Then you can have that car. But you're not ready right now. No matter what you think, you're not ready. And I know you're not ready because I'm God. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
but I think a lot of people probably don't want to hear that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
People only want to hear what they want to hear sometimes. And it's like, oh, but I want that, or I need that in my life. And, and then they get too kind of just disappointed when they don't get what they ask for. Because, look at our society. We have so much instant gratification. Like, we can do things on our phone and internet, and everything's so quick, DoorDash, all of it. And so we haven't, really been able to just sit back and just be patient.
I was just about to say, we have no concept of patience whatsoever.
Yeah.
I know I don't. I'm still working on my patience, because when I want something, I kind of want it right now. I don't want to wait. That's part of the reason why I don't order online, because I like to have it right then. If I see it and I like it, I want it then. I don't want to have to wait for shipping and all that other extra stuff. No, I want it now. So I got to work on my patience, and I think that's the same with everybody. Even the most patient people, it's like, you're patient in the world, but are you patient with God? Are you patient with the things that you pray for and know that you're going to have them in time?
That's
if
a
they
good
align with
question.
his word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a very good. That's a very good point. You know, because again, we're all so like we just want something. You know, if you're not feeling well, take a pill.
Yeah,
You
right,
know, it's like
right.
everything is like we want a quick fix,
Yeah,
and I'm sure that's true for a lot of people struggling in their faith. Is like I'm not hearing that call. I'm not hearing that voice. I'm not hearing that. So he must not be there. And, you know, like you said, it does take patience. So, yeah, it's interesting.
yeah.
It's nice to see that you've come to a point in your life where you're focusing on yourself and your child and not feeling like you have to like be a part of the crowd
Right.
because that happens a lot to people. You know, we get caught up in like, oh, I want to be a part of this crowd or this crowd or this crowd, and oftentimes a person gets lost in that. You know, their identity becomes part of whatever they're involved in, and not necessarily that's not necessarily who they are as a person.
That's exactly how it was. Like I didn't. I just felt like I needed to be around other people, and I didn't know how to stand alone. Now it's like I'm so cautious about who I allow to myself to spend time with. You know, be around. I just it's draining being around a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of different personalities, especially if they're kind of wild, so to speak. I just
Mm-hmm.
it's draining, and I feel people's emotions too much to to it's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay to myself and, people who are like minded, you know what I mean, who have my mindset or, goals or, heading towards something. Those are the people I want to be around.
And are you finding the less people that you're surrounding yourself with, the more time you have to kind of focus on
Oh,
yourself?
yeah. Oh,
Because when you're
yeah.
out with a crowd, it's all about like everyone else, or let's all do this or that. It's more of a group thing. Whereas when you're walking on your own, or even with God in your journey, that's when you have more time, I think, to self-reflect and like, who am I and what do I want in my life, and you
But
know,
that's what God needed me to do. Like, He separated me from everyone and everything that I was around to single me out so He can be like, yo, listen, stop trying to be around this person and doing this and doing that. Like, focus on you, get to know you. Because I had no idea who I was,
yeah,
you know? And He had to separate me because I couldn't listen how I needed to around what I was around. I
right,
wasn't even willing to, you
yeah,
know?
that's a good point.
So I had to be isolated. And now I'm just like, okay, cool. It's cool over here. Like, let me just stay in my little bubble. And then,
Yeah,
people who I can relate to, have some depth to them outside of, just the regular worldly stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, life's a lot deeper than that. So,
yeah, it is. How are you doing as far as relationships going? Where are we at with the
I'm
ex?
sorry, I
And
don't even laugh. With I'm not saying his name on
yeah,
purpose,
the
but
ex.
okay.
Yeah.
With him, I'm I'm not really sure where I am with him.
Okay.
Reason being is because I think did I tell you that the day that my grandma passed is the day that God told me I needed to stop talking to him all the time.
No.
Yeah, so that was hard. Um, so I'm so used to running to him when things happen, whether we're together or not, you know, just all the time. Like I was used to that, and I wanted to do that this time as well. And God told me
Oh.
I needed to not, and so I had to call him and tell him like we couldn't, keep talking, and that was really hard. That was really hard because I'm like, I hear you and I get it, but like that really sucks. you know.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say to someone who says, "Well, how do you know that's really God speaking to you?"
Because I wanted to do the exact opposite.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
the exact opposite.
Okay.
I didn't. That's not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
That's a big reason. That's a lot of the time how I know when it's God, because it's not what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, I
So
wouldn't tell myself that for sure.
Right. So when it's not what you want to hear, then
Right.
you know.
Or something that you would tell yourself. If it puts you out of your comfort zone, anything like that, probably God.
Okay. Or something not in your comfort zone. Okay. Because I imagine people who maybe aren't on that journey and they're trying to kind of figure out the, you know, what they believe or not.
Mm-hmm.
That I think will be helpful for other people to know.
I agree.
The people that you're trying to kind
Mm-hmm.
of share your story with. So is that hard for you to just let him go? X?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I I'm just used to having him around. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's not relationship wise, just like laughing and geeking and everything else, like I'm used to that. So to not have that, it's like
Yeah.
and I don't know if this is a forever thing, but just like
But you
also
know for now.
too, yeah, for now, God's
Yeah.
like, this isn't your job. You know what I mean? You got to step out of the way. So
Do you ever question when God speaks to you? Like his motives or reasoning for things?
what, like if I believe that it is for my best interest?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I know 1,050%. I would be willing to bet any amount of money that it's for my best interest. I know, I have no doubt in that whatsoever. Um, it's just like I wish I could see everything that he saw. You know what I mean? And
Right,
I
like-
can't.
Right.
So it's like, but that's the whole point of the faith and having, all that stuff. So, which I have,
Yeah.
but still, I still would like to see what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Like what's the bigger?
What's the
Yeah,
bigger
bigger
picture? Can you
picture
show
here.
me the video of what you see? Like, show me something. I need to see.
Yeah.
But that's where faith comes in. So.
And I think trusting. I think when you have a belief in God, you have to trust his intentions, his word. Because if you didn't, then it would be this constant battle for you.
Right.
And so you've had to learn to kind of just surrender, it sounds like, and trust that even, if you don't know the reason or the bigger picture, like trusting that he has your best interest and just going with that. And I think I can speak for a lot of people who would probably be very not cautious, but very not used to just entrusting fully, And so for some people that might be a hard thing to like, okay, I'm going to just trust this process.
Right, especially because you can't, like, what do you trust? You can't see them.
Right.
So
you
it's
don't
like,
see the outcome of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that. And
Yeah.
what helps me is a couple different things. One, this isn't everybody's faith, but it's mine, that Jesus died on the cross. God sent Jesus to die on the cross for all of us. For that already, how many people are going to send their kid to die on a cross for anybody? Especially knowing how we're just not going to measure up to, we're all going to fall short all the time. How many people have, spit in his face and turned their backs against him and said he's not real, but he knew all that and still did it.
Yeah.
How many of us would do that with our children? I don't know any. I know I wouldn't. Like, if I was in that position, sorry, world, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? So that in itself, and also to taking that aside, as a parent, you want the best for your child. You tell them, don't touch that hot stove. You know it's a hot stove. You know if they touch it, they're going to burn themselves. They're curious. They want to know what it's like to touch it. You tell them not to touch it. You know what the outcome is going to be. They can only see they're telling me not to touch it, but why are they telling me not to touch it? I kind of want to touch it. Let me see. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
You want, but you could. They could do it if they want to, but they're gonna end up getting hurt because of it. So, like, I try to just think of it as a parent role. At the end of the day, he is the father over all of us, parent role. I just try to think of it as that and relate it to, we want the best for our kids in the natural. We want the best for our kids. It's the same thing with God. Only He can see all. We can only see what we know, what we've been through
Yeah.
in the past, things that we know about the world to try to help protect our kids. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of the same thing, slightly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
You know.
Yeah. So, is it hard for you to be friends with people who aren't or who don't believe the same as you? Like, some people just don't believe in God. Some people don't have a religion, or they might have a different religious belief. So, is it hard for you to, like, be friends with people who don't share the same beliefs?
Be friends with, I don't know.
Okay.
Like work with or be around or communicate with, maybe. I can't say I would have too much of a problem with it. I'm still gonna be me as long as you're not like making me feel crazy about, like, oh, you're lying, or that's not the case, or
Right.
then I have to cut all ties. I'm not trying to be around that. But if you're willing to hear what I have to say, and we can talk and all that stuff, I don't mind that. You know what I mean? People are in their own different places in life.
Yeah.
People have their reasons for not believing, or for not having the faith that they probably could. Everybody has a story. And I just try to respect where everybody is in life. um and just hope that if people are willing to hear my story, whether they believe or not, I can plant that seed for God to do what He needs to do in their life for them to get to a place of better faith and believing and all that stuff. But as long as you're not coming for me and making me out to be like a liar or crazy for my belief, then it is what it is. You know what I mean?
And unfortunately and sadly, you will come across people like that in the world who may have a completely different, belief and or none, and that's where you have to just stand strong in your own beliefs and your faith and not let others sway your, your beliefs. And then the other part of that I wanted to say is that in talking about relationships, because you've had some relationships that haven't worked out, as do many of us. And I know that you had said before, like, it's really important for you, one, to not seek that relationship, but if and when God feels it's time for you to have this relationship, then you go from there. And then also that person also has to be, kind of believing, in God and walking his path with Jesus and all of that, because otherwise it's not going to work out.
That's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably one of the first questions I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
If you have no relationship with God, you're not following Christ, then to me it's like, if you're interested in me, we're not going there.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not going there.
Yeah.
It's not to be hard or anybody to think that I'm better. It's just what I want for me and what I know that I need to have for the relationship that I'm looking for.
And I say, hey, that's absolutely, you're right. It's your life and you have to do what's best for you. And, I would imagine you'd be much more compatible with someone who believes the same thing as you.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're not believing the same thing, and then, there's some conflict there, or there could be conflict in that, you know. And I've seen that happen too, where one person in the relationship, attends church, believes in God, and the other one doesn't, and then so there's that. Like,
yeah, I'm absolutely not doing that. Absolutely not. And no one is like, because my faith is so strong and God has shown me Him time and time again, just in this past few months where I've been walking with Him. Before that, but really noticeable now where I've been paying attention This past few months, no one could shake my faith. I don't care what they had to say. Like zero,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. And so as a therapist,
Mhm.
my role is to always be very uh, neutral, non-biased, like respectful, and of course I don't share my religious
Mhm.
beliefs, but I do have a great respect for your belief and anyone's, who comes in and has, their specific set of beliefs. I have respect for that. And it's not for me to, you know, question it or, put my own beliefs out there to, so I like that you're very open about your beliefs, and I like that you live your life around that because it works for you,
Mhm.
and you've come a long way in your journey, in your life just this far, you know what I mean? So, like, that's really important to you, and that's why we bring it into the session because it's not something you just do on a Sunday afternoon or
Right.
Sunday morning. It's really who you are as a person, and so
Mhm.
we can't ignore that and just not talk about it because in pretty much every session that we have, it's interwoven into our session, like, because it's such a big part of your life,
Right.
you know. So I just wanted to point that out. So, so it looks like we are just about out of time.
Yes.
Anything we want to um, end with before we wrap up our session today?
Um. Oh no, but next time, if we could talk about the miscarriage I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make sure I'm like not what's the word I'm looking for? Um I guess have any like buried feelings about it. Like I
Okay.
feel like I don't, but when we talked about it before, I feel like since I'm not confident that I don't, that I should probably
Yeah.
just check. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like just
Yeah. There may be something unresolved with
right,
that.
right.
So yes, absolutely. Was that something you wanted to talk about today?
Oh, we don't have to. No, we could wait.
Okay.
Yeah, we could wait
All
because
right.
it's not like I don't feel like it's like harping on me at all. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not even. I don't even. I'm not sure if it's there or not. But
Okay.
since
So
I'm
we
not
just want to kind of
confident, I
revisit
want to
it.
kind of
Yeah.
just check in and
Okay.
make sure.
All right. So I put that on for next time and highlighted that.
Yes.
So between now and the next time we meet, what thing or things do you want to commit to working on outside of session that will help you?
As far as in what direction?
Whether it's with your beliefs in God, whether it's with your job, whichever.
I'm sorry. Okay, so what? Jeez. All right. Well, I wasn't even gonna go in this direction, but figuring out um why it's so hard to let go of, I'm gonna say him. Is it because of history? Is it stronghold? Is it a combination of the two?
Okay.
Like, is it because there's a stronghold that's still not broken, or is it just because you know regular life stuff because of the history
Or
that I
because he's
had
been such a
because it,
in your
such a
life for so
big
long.
exactly like is it one
Okay.
of the other is it both, just to
Okay.
kind of try to figure that out, I
So then
guess.
that's what I want you to think on. Why is that so hard for me
Mm.
to let go? Even though I know it's in my best interest. Why is that so hard?
But is it though? That too. That's part of my question. Like, is it? And I don't know if this is along with the stronghold.
Okay.
Me not being sure. Like, am I still holding on to a piece of like maybe God will get him together and then we'll get we'll have this crazy testimony story for our love life, or is
maybe
it
you're
like,
hoping.
or is it like, all right, you're doing too much, this is not it, you have this crazy attachment to this person, you need to let it go completely because I have somebody new. You know what I mean? Like
And that's where you have to trust
exactly.
in God.
Right. But right now he wants me to leave it alone. So.
Yeah. So as when I asked earlier, it's not about questioning. It's just about
Trusting.
trusting. Yeah. So I think it's normal to be curious about like, I wonder why that is. So I think that's a little different than, questioning his like, what's he trying to do?
Yeah.
So I think give that some thought because I think there's definitely something to that, and then yes, we could talk about the
Okay. All right.
Okay.